What's up, Grace Girls? Welcome to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast, where we focus on helping Black women change their lives by discarding negative thoughts, pivoting in the right direction, and shifting their mindset through cultivating a trauma free lifestyle. I'm your host, Courtney Kristen, educator, content creator, life coach, counselor, and mental health enthusiast living in Houston, Texas. I created the Allow Yourself Grace podcast because I wanted to create a space for Black women to share their thoughts, feelings, and stories that make them who they are without fear of judgment. Allow Yourself Grace provides emotional support and encouragement within the Grace Girls community for women in need of non biased opinions from women other than family and friends. Personal development, self care, career, faith are among many of the topics we will discuss on this platform. Allow Yourself Grace podcast is here to encourage Black women to live unapologetically and thrive in being authentically who they are and were designed to be an entire vibe. No topics are off limits. We will cover it all. Now, grab a notebook, pen, sit back, and enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. Y'all know I got a guest in the house. We're rocking and rolling this season. As always, I like to let my guests introduce themselves so I don't forget any of their credentials. So I'm gonna go ahead and let my beautiful guest, she's looking good, y'all, introduce herself.
I'm Tiffany Ro. It's my Instagram handle. I am a certified life coach. I have been doing it all of my life, but I got
Mhm.
certified in 2019, I
Okay.
think around the pandemic. So, yeah.
All right. I love that. I love that. Y'all, I've been following her on social media and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna reach out to her and have her come on because if y'all aren't following her, we're gonna have her Instagram popped up on the screen. Y'all need to go follow her because she's dropping a lot of gems, a lot of motivational things. And then you can check out her services if you're interested. She also has a podcast. And we were just talking about it with her lovely daughter.
Yes.
And it's called You Talk Too Much, right? I was like, okay, we'll have that on the screen too for you guys. But I was like, that I love it. I just told her I love the brand. I love it all. So y'all make sure y'all go check that out. So today we're gonna talk about the importance of structure. So with Miss Tiffany being a life coach, I thought that was a perfect topic. And so we're gonna let her kind of tell a little bit about where she's from, who she is, and then we're gonna move into today's topic.
Okay. I am, again, Tiffany McCardell. I am a certified life coach. Again, I've really been doing it all of my life, and it just made sense after
Hmm.
a while to actually put my gift to work,
Yeah.
basically.
Because a
Putting my
lot of
gift.
times we run from our gifts.
Yes.
Like it's kind of like, until people start to come into our lives and they kind of confirm it for
Right.
us. And then
Right.
we're like, okay, let me just do this because I can't run from it no more.
Right. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just important for me to come to grips with uh, actually following my gift. And
I love it. Are you originally from Houston?
I am originally from Houston, born and
Okay.
raised.
Okay. What side?
So many sides, but Hiram Clark.
Okay. We
Yes.
if you're from Houston, you know where that is.
Yes.
Okay. So originally from Houston, and so the podcast you started with your daughter,
Yes.
and your daughter, she lives here in Houston too.
Yes. She is
Okay.
in Houston all her life, of
Do y'all
course.
record all in person or is it virtual as
No,
well?
we do all in person.
Okay. I love
Yes.
it. I
All in
love it.
person.
I love it. Okay. The importance of structure. As a life coach, I know this is a topic that you can resonate with well. How important is structure in your life?
It's very important. Structure actually is going to be the foundation of what your tomorrow is, what your tomorrow promises you. Structure is basically your everyday to-do list. And it doesn't matter it doesn't matter where you place your goals. It doesn't matter if you have your to-do list Monday through Sunday or if it's just daily, as long as you have some type of a structure so that what you want your tomorrow to look like actually comes to fruition.
Wow. So when you're taking clients and what do you look at? Do you have a specific client that you like to work with or do you kind of open it up to everybody and then you just kind of go based off of their needs?
Well, I do have a target audience. However, if I can determine that I can help meet the need. I most definitely expand my target audience is women between the ages of 19 and close to my age.
Right.
So, and I'm specific on actually helping you cultivate the greatness that's already in you. A lot of us are just, uh, especially mothers, mothers and wives. You do so much for your children. You do so much for your husband. You do so much for the household. You simply forget that you too have a gift. And when
Yes.
those kids get off to college, school, and life,
Hmm.
then it's like, okay, what do I do?
What do
So
I do?
that's where I come in.
Okay.
Hey, what are your gifts? What do you love doing that you would not even care if you didn't get paid for? And then I just start to help cultivate that. I
Mhm.
create a to do list. We create a to do list. And we determine, hey, this needs to get done here, here, and here. And basically, we're going to create a foundation so that your tomorrow looks like what you want it to look
I love it. So it's kind of like having an accountability partner
like.
too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Somebody that just holds you to, like, hey, this is what you said you were gonna do.
Absolutely.
And I'm here to make sure that you follow through
Right.
with what you said you were gonna do.
And that's the key, an accountability partner. And I do stand firm and strong on that, because a lot of times you're around people who do want to see you grow. They
Hmm.
just don't know how to hold you accountable because they
Hmm.
know you personally. Well, I know that there is a purpose and a mission, so what I'm going to do is enforce what you told me you wanted to happen.
Right, right. And I think you're right. Like a lot of times with our family, it's like, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to say the wrong thing because then I may come off a certain way. And
Right.
so they may be a little hesitant. So it's good to have somebody that's non biased. They
Absolutely.
don't really know you. They
Absolutely.
can come in and say, okay, you need to be doing X, Y, and Z. And you know what? People receive it better.
Absolutely.
Like it's just something about
Right.
receiving something from a stranger that will take. But like,
What
let
is
your
that?
mom tell you or your grandma tell you, like, I don't want to
Right.
hear
I don't
that
want that
today.
information
But
from you.
if
Yes.
I come and tell you, Tiffany, I think you should. You're like,
Absolutely.
and then you probably have that person like, man, I told you that 20 years ago. Like
Absolutely.
I've been
Right.
told you that.
Right.
I do that to my husband all the time. I'm
Right.
like, dude, I told you that, but it's something about hearing it from somebody else. I
And
want,
I do,
yeah.
when you hear for somebody else, I'm
No,
sorry.
you're
I
fine.
do speak to, I make sure I speak to the fear that has you
Mm,
bound. So I'm also affirming what you want to do, and I am casting down that fear so that you know that,
yes.
hey, I can do it. A lot of times people don't understand that we don't move because we're afraid, because you might not be fearful. So when you
Right.
tell me to do something, you're telling me to do it out of your zeal, but I still have fear. But I can identify, I know you're afraid. We're gonna move anyway. We're gonna do,
Right.
if you do fail, it's okay. We're just gonna restructure.
Yes.
So
Pushing people to take risks. I
yes,
think taking risk in life is like one of the hardest things you could ever do.
absolutely.
It's like you may sit there and do all the research and sign up for all these courses and then you don't execute.
Hmm.
And so I think that's the part that really life coaches help you do is like really execute your plan
Absolutely.
because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't apply it, it's
It's
useless.
absolutely
Yeah,
useless.
I want to go back to what you were saying about, people like women, their kids growing up and them not knowing their passion. Like, okay, my kids are gone. I haven't done anything. I don't know what to do with
Hmm.
myself because I've been so immersed in their lives and haven't really tapped into what I want to do. Like, why do you think women struggle so much with that? Like finding their identity.
I think it's because we haven't I don't we haven't been picked.
Mm,
So we haven't seen ourselves in those positions, and it's just now becoming normalized
right,
almost. We've been depicted only as the wife. We've been depicted only as the mother, as the best friend, as the good person,
right.
and we just haven't seen ourselves actually going after our goals because we haven't lived it.
Yeah,
I've been a mother all of my life, or
right.
well, not all of my life, but
Right.
for
The
a long
majority,
time.
yeah.
And I've been a wife for even longer. So
Mm,
that's what I've been practicing. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been good at, because
right.
what you practice is what you become good at.
Come
So,
on.
yeah, so
Yep.
now it's time. Now I don't need to feed, pick up, take to soccer practice, make dinner for 10 of us. Now I don't have to do that. Now my time, now I'm idle.
It's time for for Tiffany to step into Tiffany. Like
Yes,
it's time for me to do me.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that because I know people like they get like, oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I gotta do this. And it's like, dang, do you take a day to just whew,
Yes,
just
yes,
just who are you?
right.
Travel, even traveling without their kids. Like they
Yes,
feel like they can't travel, they can't do anything because they have kids. And it's like that's not the case. Like you just gotta work it out.
absolutely.
I tell my friends, I'm like, y'all got one ticket a year. Y'all better use it. Let me
Right,
know in advance, and I'll
right.
babysit. But you gotta let me
Oh,
know.
that's cool.
You
That's
got
cool.
one ticket.
Yes, that's
You got
cool.
one ticket. My sister's like, she hates to ask, but I'm like, yeah, just let me know.
Right.
But yeah, I think you need those people to really help cultivate,
Absolutely.
to help cultivate who you are. So you've been a wife for how long?
Ooh, 19 years.
Oh, that's a long time. Wait, did
Absolutely.
I hear you say 10? A family of 10? How many
No,
kids?
girl,
I was
what
about to say.
I was
I was about to say, I
exaggerating that
know. I was
scenario.
about to say,
So
was that a
no, ma'am.
scenario or how many kids do you
Scenario.
have?
I have one daughter.
Oh, just one. Okay. Oh,
Yes.
child. I love
I don't
it.
know how people do two and up.
Yeah, two and up.
That's very
Because
hard.
I'm like, man, you got how many?
No,
Five?
ma'am.
Oh,
No,
two.
ma'am.
Oh, that's a lot. There's a lot of personalities.
Yes.
Everybody has different personalities.
Babe, you got to be gifted to have
Right?
two and up.
Yeah, my dad's the only child, so I know I'm like, but he has a lot of kids.
Really
So
interesting.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
very interesting, very interesting. So I kind of want to talk about like building relationships. How important is it for you to build relationships with other women who are really operating in their purpose and stepping into their passions? Because I think that
It
kind of helps.
it's
Yeah.
very important because you want to actually be in a community of people who affirm you, and then you want to be in a community of people you can grow with or look
Mhm.
forward to doing or becoming. Like if you do more than I do, or like your setup is better, or it's
Mhm.
not necessarily well better. I
Yeah, you
am
can
saying
take
better,
things.
yes,
Yeah.
because you're at better and I'm
Mhm.
at good, so I'm
Mhm.
trying to get better.
Right.
So I need something to look forward to. We
Yes.
all need to be around those people, and iron sharpens iron. So the more we sharpen one another, the higher we become, the more steady our foundation becomes, and the
Yes.
bigger we are.
When I have I definitely agree with that. When I have women on my platform or they reach out to me, it's kind of like, yeah, for example, yesterday I had a collaboration call with another podcaster. She's never met me. We've never met in person. She saw me online. She's in Salt Lake City, Utah. And she's like, hey, I want to chat and see what we can do. And so we literally chatted on Zoom, decided what we were going to do. She was a little hesitant about asking, like, hey, can we both use the content? I'm like, sure.
Mhm.
I've had people on there like, can you send me the whole file so I can
Right,
post it? Sure.
absolutely,
Like, because we're all helping each other and we all know how this works. Like, you come
absolutely.
on my platform, you get exposed to my audience, I go on your platform.
There you
And
go.
it should be fun
That's
because
right,
you may be able to reach somebody that I can't reach,
and
that's
vice
not
versa.
in my demographics, they can't
Absolutely,
relate to me.
absolutely.
We all have unique gifts. And so I'm
Absolutely.
so glad that you said that because I went to a networking event last night and it was just so different for me because I was the only married person in the room. So it
Okay.
was my husband and I were the only married couple in the room.
Mhm.
So you could tell because the conversation is different.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I think just being around people in general, you kind of figure out like who your audience is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I
Absolutely.
was wondering, like, have you ever been in a space where you're like, okay, now I can see this is not my client, but I can probably refer them to so and
Absolutely.
so.
Because my daughter is 30.
Mhm.
So we we are in the same rooms a lot of times, or
Yeah.
I'm just when I'm hanging with her,
Mhm.
and her audience is younger. She
Right.
does reach my demographic. However, there is a smaller audience. So
Right.
a lot of times I'm like, yeah, she's just gonna work better with my
Yeah.
daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can kind of
Absolutely.
tell. And I tell people that's okay. We get
It's fine.
yeah, it's
It
fine.
is.
It's
It
fine.
really
It's
is.
fine. And if it's not fine for you, I'm like, okay, you're not in the circle I need to be in.
Right.
Because
Right.
I feel like as women, we have to kind of encourage each other and push each other and just know like we're all in it to win it, right?
Absolutely.
And I want to see everybody win. Like
Yes.
genuine. And sometimes in business, I'm gonna get to the business side of this. You can get maybe misguided sometimes, or maybe you're like you get into a situation and you're like, okay, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Have you ever been in a situation like that?
Well, I have, and thankfully for me, um, I just, and this is just honest to
Yeah.
goodness, I prayed and asked God to
Mm,
disrupt it, and the person just gracefully bowed out,
I love
like not
it.
return calls,
I
didn't
love
show up
it.
to meetings, so it just worked.
And it worked out.
Yes,
Yeah, it's something about that discernment and that
yes,
energy.
absolutely,
Yeah, I'm big on energy. I'm
yeah,
like, okay, let me see. I don't
yeah.
know. And that's why I'm so like, I like to really fill people out before I invite them on the platform. And because I'm like, I'm okay. I can do an episode by myself. My
Okay,
husband is like, you need to get a guest. You need to do this. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't just want everybody.
absolutely.
So on your podcast, do y'all invite people on, or how do y'all like select and narrow down your guests?
So my daughter normally selects and narrow down her guests. She's
Okay.
really good with discerning who to sit with.
Mm,
She does extensive research. She's familiar with their platform.
yeah,
She is in that instance. We haven't.
I love it.
Yeah, she's
I
really
love it.
good with detecting who to sit down with and who not to
I love it.
invite
So
out.
structure in business, how does that go? Hand in hand or no?
Well, it is hand in hand, but again, I thank God for my child who handles
Love it. I love it. She's
every.
taking care of her mama.
Absolutely. She absolutely just gives me the information. We do get together and, create. She's going to, what do you want to talk about? What are we going to do?
Hmm.
And we create that part. But as far as like the structure of it, she takes care of it. And hey, I'll see you here at this time on this day, and we're going to do
Okay. I love it. Success and structure. So, I get a lot of questions like, how did you do this? Or, how are you so successful and you're this young, you have this many degrees, you're doing this and that. And I think it's just having a plan
this. Absolutely.
um for me, I think. But what role does success play? I mean, does structure play in success?
So that it's extremely important, and the role is very significant. And success, again, success is defined by you.
Mhm.
So you get to determine what your success is, what you feel like success is. If you are taking a course and success for you looks like when I finish the course, that's success,
Right.
then that is great for you. So determining what you want to do, uh, completing that task,
Mhm.
and being able to actually, be satisfied with what you completed. Like being able to say that I don't want to make a success cookie cutter
Right.
because it's not. And so I don't want people to think that if you do one, two, three, then you're successful.
Yes.
Your success is determined on how you define it and how
Yes.
tangible it is for you.
Right.
Now, if you feel like, I finished my plate and that's successful, hey, I can't,
I ate a salad
yeah,
today.
and maybe it is successful because you're
Yeah.
trying to diet,
Yeah.
but you want to determine what success looks like for you and not anyone else, so that you can determine how success how significant success is in your life. I don't want to put it in a box.
Right, right. And I think with today's society with like social media and like you're seeing what people want you to
You
see,
see a
really.
highlight reel.
You see a highlight reel. So I'm sure you get clients that are like comparing themselves to
Absolutely.
maybe social media or family members.
Absolutely.
What's something like one of the main things that you tell them when you hear that come out of their mouths?
First of all, I like to be realistic about social media. And
Hmm.
my first thing is, what do you want people to show you? That they're sad and unhappy? No. I'm going to post when I'm having a good time, when I'm happy, when
Hmm.
I'm hanging out with my family and friends. So don't take it so personal that I'm not showing you uh, the dark side of my life.
Yeah.
That's number one. We all do it. I am going to give you my
My
highlight
best
reel
times.
unless God is telling me to expose something personal about my life.
Yeah.
Now you will get the meat of me in my messages.
Hmm.
That's personal. If I'm expressing something, it's because I experienced it and I'm able to put it in a message and send it to you via video. But don't get caught up on someone's highlight reel because you're comparing, because what we do as humans is we compare our experience to their experience. And if I'm comparing, that means I'm in a kind of sucky place. So I'm comparing where I am mentally, emotionally, where I'm down to somebody's happiest moment. The two don't
Yeah.
balance.
It doesn't.
So I tell them to stay away from that. I advise a lot of my clients to stay off social media for a little while.
Take a break.
Take a break.
Take a break.
It's
Because
like
it can be a lot.
like a
It can
high
be a lot.
school what's that cafeteria table where we the cool people
Right. Got the cool people
come
over here.
off, yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
get focused.
Right, right.
Let's get a plan. Let's get a routine.
Get your structure.
Get your structure.
Yes.
Get your structure. A daily routine. Do you think people need a daily routine?
If you need it. If you need it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you don't, you absolutely don't. I don't necessarily have a daily routine, but this is what I do. I gauge myself weekly. And if at the beginning of the week I need a daily routine, then that's what I implement. So my structure fluctuates.
Mine too.
Yes.
I get bored easily. My attention span is like,
yes.
I don't know, I don't want to do that today. I don't want
Right.
to eat that today.
Right.
Like, that's why meal prepping is hard for me because I'm like, I don't want to eat the same thing for 5 days. So
Right.
now I got to cook different stuff. And it's just too much.
Right.
Right. So I think I love what she said. Find what works for you. Like, you really
Absolutely.
got to find what works for you, not for what I see on
Absolutely.
Miss Tiffany's page or what she sees over here. Like, find what's going to work for you. Take a little bit from everybody
That
if you
is
need that.
that is a great go-to.
Mhm.
That actually works.
It
Taking a little
does.
bit from everybody. Because a lot of people have a lot of good
They
information.
do.
And it's out there. And so if you were at a point where you were trying to get structure in your life, you were at a good point.
Mhm.
So you're open to ideas. So you can actually go see, okay, what works for this person? And if you admire someone you follow, then a lot of times their structure is probably something you can gain from.
Yeah. Yeah, I see stuff all the time and I'm like, okay, I don't like that, but I can do this.
There you
I don't know
go.
if I can do that, but
There you
I
go.
can do this part and I like
Absolutely.
that. So yeah, just take a little bit and tweak it
There
and
you
make
go.
it your own. But most importantly, remember who you are. I tell people like just remember who you are and what you like. Don't ever forget that.
Absolutely.
Because the hardest thing you can do is try to spend time being somebody else.
To get to being the hardest thing that's great you can do is spend time being somebody else only to determine that that didn't work.
And that person's already taken.
Listen.
I can't be Tiffany. Like, I can't.
Only for
Like,
you to get there to determine that, okay, I still have to be me. You still missing. We
still
need you.
missing. Still missing.
Yes.
Like, because again, people aren't showing you everything. So they're not showing you everything. So I'm sure you saw like DC Young Fly lost his
Yes.
long-term girlfriend, kid's mom or whatever. So that was one of the things that he said. He got stopped on the sidewalk by a reporter, and she was like, people aren't, they don't think you're taking it hard. You're not sad enough. And he said something key, and I was like, he's like, you're only seeing a portion of my life. He's like, I haven't been led to turn on the camera
There
and
you
cry.
go. There you go.
Sorry, I haven't been led to do that
There
yet.
you go.
But am I crying when nobody's looking? Yes. Am I having my moments? Yes.
There
And
you
I
go.
thought that was so human of
That
him to
makes so
say,
much sense.
because it makes sense.
Mhm.
It's like, who are we to sit here and judge him because he's not crying on camera?
Right.
We
Right.
don't know what he's doing in private.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying to you guys. Like, make sure that you're not just looking at people saying and misjudging them because you just
Absolutely.
never know what somebody's going through.
Absolutely.
There's days that I record podcasts and I'm like, I don't really feel like doing this today. And somebody will text like, "Oh, I enjoyed this episode."
There you go. There's your
So
motivation.
there's your
Let me get
motivation
behind this mic.
to keep
Yes.
going, to keep going. So on the days that you and your daughter, you're like, "Oh man, I don't know if we want to do this. Let's hold on. What keeps you going?"
So, number one, discipline and obedience. you actually sometimes you have to push past what has you foggy because you have already made a promise to yourself. So discipline and obedience. The other thing about that is giving yourself grace. And just like now, we are revamping and just stopping to see what else is going to work. So it's okay to change your mind. It's really okay, but discipline and obedience, you have to be dedicated to something because what you are not faithful to, eventually you won't commit to.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's a whole word.
right.
What you're not faithful to, eventually you won't commit to.
There you go.
Wow. And that means being consistent.
And consistency happens when you feel like it and when you don't feel like it.
When you don't feel like it. And it kills critics. So all the people that are questioning everything that you do, or they may not be sure, like, oh, you always trying to try something.
Right.
Like, oh, you always changing up. It's like, but I'm consistent.
Right. Hello.
That's the one thing I'm consistent in. So you're gonna see a podcast from Tiffany popping up on her page. It may be in a couple weeks, it may be in a couple months, but she coming back.
Right.
So it's like, dang, she ain't stopped yet. So the tenacity that
Absolutely.
the grind,
Absolutely.
and people don't have it. A lot of people don't have it. Do you think that the way you live your personal life affects your business life?
Absolutely. The two are not separate. And and I'm gonna agree to disagree. A lot of people do have it. We just don't have the discipline and the
Mm,
obedience. And
come
then you
on, come
actually
on,
have to
discipline.
get around people who want to see you really win. Now I can't make you do anything, but what I can do is every time you get on the phone with me, ask you, so how was that book going? And you're gonna eventually
Mm.
stop calling me.
Cause it's like, she gonna
Are
ask me
you
about
going
that
are
book.
you going to start
Yeah.
writing your book? So it's you we do have it. We just have to be in the right community. You have to be around the right people. And if you are not around the right people, they'll encourage you to stay stagnant.
Wow. 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 I'm gonna just let that resonate. If you're not around the right people, you're gonna stay stagnant. I
Yeah.
love it because that's why I say childhood friends. Sometimes you lose them along the way because of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like in order to grow, you have to change your environment.
Absolutely.
And so I find that people that stay around their hometown, or they stay around what they're familiar with, like the familiarity of doing the same things and
Mm,
kind of hanging out with the same people, they struggle a lot.
yeah.
Do you see that a lot?
I do, and that is probably well, no, that's fear because you are afraid to succeed. And if you're around people who success looks like hanging out, then you're successful.
Wow.
And so you might have a dream, but if you are around, the majority of the people you hang around don't do anything and you're comfortable there and you come around me, I'm going to look weird. So when I encourage you to do something, I'm the one speaking against the masses. So
Mm.
they're going to drown me out. So you're going to stay content around those group of people until you identify that that is indeed not success. That is just you being stagnant. That is just fear uh, telling you, fear controlling your life. Like, no, you can't do it because they're not encouraging you to do
Yeah.
it.
And wanting to be accepted.
Wanting to be accepted. And a
People,
lot of
yeah.
times in those circles, that's not what is known. They actually, in those circles, they actually think that they don't want to be accepted. That's why I get to do what I want to do and hang out all day
Hmm.
because I don't really care what they think. In
Right.
actuality, it
You do.
is, yeah,
Because you want a crowd. It's
yeah,
more people over here than
yeah.
over there.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
I can got my little clique.
Right,
It's cool. You over there by yourself
right.
thinking you
Mm-hmm.
doing it.
Yeah,
We don't want to do that.
right.
Right? It's hard though. So let's talk about how hard it is to stand over here by yourself when everybody else is over here.
Well, the funny thing about that is it it's going to happen one way or the other. You're going to either volunteer to do it yourself by creating your structure and saying, "Hey, I have a 5-year plan. This is what I have to do. And a lot of times your plan is going to take you away from the crowd, put you in a position where you actually have to focus on your plan, which is going to take your time away from your social life because you have a 5-year plan. And so you're going to have to get it done. Or you're going to waste 5 years over here, hang out with people who have no interest in what your future looks like, only for God to tap you on your shoulder 5 years later and say, I said sit down. And he's just going to remove them. And here you are, now on year 6, when you could have been done starting over.
Yeah.
So you're going to either volunteer or he just going to tap you on your shoulder and said, I said sit down.
Right. And I think you have a special, like it's a unique feeling that you get when you know you're not supposed to be somewhere. You know how you go a place and you go somewhere and you're like,
no comfort.
You feel like so uncomfortable.
None.
It's like, why did I come here? It's like that feeling.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
When you know, like, why are you playing over
right.
here? When you know you're not supposed to be over here.
Or thinking about what you could be doing if you'd have stayed at home.
And how much time goes by? Because that time, it moves quickly. You look back like, dang, 8 years and went by, and I'm still doing the same thing. And I know I should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a part of my story.
Yeah.
I know I should have, but I wasted time. And I'm like, okay,
Lord. Now it's go time. Yeah. Now it's go time. My husband laughs at me because I'm like, no, it's go time. Like if God gives you a vision, it may be cloudy. It may like I can't see the end right now. I don't know how this about to turn out, but God said do it. So here I am.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But I think that's where faith comes into play and the trust in him that if you gave me the vision and I'm doing everything I need to do to execute, you're going to handle the rest.
Absolutely. The rest ain't even your business.
It's not.
It's not.
I put it in your hands.
You wouldn't believe it anyway.
You wouldn't believe it. And what we think it's going to look like, it never looks like that.
Never.
Never. Never. I mean, because I'm sure some people probably look at you on social media and they're like, oh, she's good. I wish I was doing this. I need to hurry up and catch up. But she just said, look how long it took her to get here.
Right. Because I got tapped on my shoulder. I didn't volunteer.
Oh, wow. Yeah, voluntold. Like, get over here and do what I said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it takes that. It takes that. And it also takes people like you sharing your story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sharing your story. And also people need to see that mother-daughter relationship. So when she said, oh, my daughter and I do it together, I thought that was awesome because there's people like me. My mom passed away. So she passed away, I think I was 23.
Me too.
Yeah, somewhere like that. But to see that, like there may be somebody like, oh my God, maybe I can repair the relationship with my mom. My mom's still here. You know, so I love that y'all are doing that and y'all work well together. Because I also had another lady here and she works with her daughter too. And so just that representation of Black women actually having healthy relationships is important. So see what I'm saying? You never know how in what way you're touching someone out there because there could be someone who wants to do it or maybe they need to repair that relationship, like I said. So keep going, like keep going because wow, I would have never known that your journey took that long.
Absolutely. Yep, yeah. Because I was hard headed. Yeah. And I probably thought I knew better. And isn't that crazy?
And God's sitting up here laughing.
Right. Like, okay, if you want to waste all of this time.
If you say so.
Yeah. So yeah, I just thank him for I thank him that my latter will be greater than my former. So, you know, it's going to happen. It's just that and I'm still in the process. I'm currently still in the process of learning and in a season of by myself. Everything has been stripped away. It is just me. I am in that season, but I have more information now. Yeah. So that's the great thing about being in a season that of wisdom alone. Yeah. I have more information. So yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. Oh my God, it is. I'm gonna tell y'all, being out here, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Right. Because you're putting yourself out there. You're being vulnerable. Right. And being vulnerable is difficult. Right. It's not easy. There was something I want to ask you. It slipped my mind that quick. Career. So if somebody is changing careers, is that something that you help with too with life coaching?
Absolutely. And it's never too late. I don't care how old you are. That's another thing about the clientele I reach. It doesn't matter your age. If you decide to change your mind, you get to change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You get to cultivate what you want. It's never too late. If you are still here and you are still breathing, then you have an audience that's waiting on you. So if you decided to change your mind, it's because God put something in you to say, hey, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. And that's because I have this person in 2 years I need you to run into. So I need you to already have this career going, and I need you to be on that path. So
I love it.
absolutely change career.
Do you think people could do multiple things?
So I do think they can do multiple things. I'm not sure if I agree you can
Mm-hmm.
do them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's called switch tasking.
Mm.
And I don't know if you can give 100 here and then turn here and give 100 there. I do think you can do multiple things. That in itself takes a talent. I wouldn't try it,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna say you can't.
Right.
Switch tasking is hard.
It's
But
hard.
if you are disciplined and obedient to what it is you need to do, I mean, you can do it. That just takes some diligence and discipline.
It does. I think being in a space where, in business where people talk about investments and, the next new thing, you may see this person doing this and they're successful at it and this person doing that, and then you're like, "Oh, I want to do that. Now I want to do that. Now I want to do that." What do you tell that person?
They're just
That's like,
distracted. Yeah,
okay,
you actually have to focus. This person just does not have a focus.
right.
And so what's happening is you are that person. I'm going to immediately say, come off of social media. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
tell you to write down everything you want to do. If you said you saw all that stuff and you want to
Yeah.
do it, absolutely do it. Which one you want to do first? Okay, let's do that.
Yeah. What do you think about the person who kind of lives in a fantasy world? Do you get those people like they watch a lot of TV, so they in their mind they're on the phone. So I see this a lot. People on the phone like, yeah, I'll work over here. I'm doing this. And I'm doing that. They're so busy, right? That person, you see it. You see through them already. Like you come in for a session, I already see it. Like for real. Why
I
you
don't.
feel like you got a lot of kicking? You know?
I don't. I don't know if I've ran into that, but I do know those people personally.
Okay.
Yeah. So, um, it's the illusion of being important because they're so busy, and
Wow.
yeah. So it's
That's
just
a whole word.
right, and I can't. So I don't necessarily speak to that because I have a hard time having a conversation with an untruthful person.
Sorry, I was
Right.
laughing because I'm like, I feel the same way. Like
Yeah,
I
I'm not
don't
gonna
do the
waste.
disingenuous.
I'm not gonna. You not finna get my energy and time on something that is not real.
You
I don't want to do that, and I get highly upset when I find out that what I talked for an hour about nothing. Yeah, so no. If I see that coming,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't waste my time.
I feel like that too. And I'm like, wake up. Like, come on. This is not your life. Do you
Right.
want it to be your life? Then you gotta take action. Like, why you sitting up here lying on this phone like this? Or why
And
you waste my time?
and it's you're just only the only part. This is the thing about someone who's not truthful, and I'll just say a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you have discernment, I know.
Did you lie?
But the thing about a liar is that they think they're
Believe it.
and that it's the truth. So I don't do anything with it. I allow you to be exactly who you are
Yeah.
because I already have the truth. See, with the truth, there's no convincing. The
Yeah.
truth is what it is.
Yep.
You have a liar has to convince, but the truth stands flat.
Right.
So
And that's what my grandma used to say. When you tell one lie, you gotta tell another one, and you can't keep up with all them lies
it's impossible.
because you got to keep lying
Right.
to really
Liars
make it
don't have good memories.
right, and you forget what you like. And then that's when we, the people who discern things,
I
we
thought you
start putting it
said
together. Like, nah, you said,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. It's like, and my husband thinks I'm the meanest person in the world, but I'm like, no, because that's not.
Right.
No, I'm telling
Right.
you in advance. And so I think you just have to be aware of who
Absolutely.
people are.
Absolutely.
And when I see people, and sometimes I hate it. Do you ever have those moments where you're like, dang, God, why I always got to see things?
So I actually stopped talking because I saw things. And I was like, okay, God, I'm not telling anybody anything else because I operated in a season of where God had given me extreme discernment and I was able to tell people
Wow.
this, that, and the other. Lost every single
I was
friend.
about to say, oh,
Zero.
I know they was like, girl,
No,
bye.
I told God, I said, oh, okay, that's how you want to play.
You just gonna leave me out here lonely.
You told me to say it, and I don't have anyone. And it was during a very dark time in my life. So,
Wow.
which in hindsight, Lord, is beautiful. I needed to be by myself because I was about to go in a dark point in my life, and I didn't need to be able to get on the phone with 10 different people and talk about
And
it
get
10
10
different
different
times
opinions.
over and over to where it would just consume me because my
Mhm.
mind do a good job at that time by itself. I didn't really need other people, but in hindsight, I see why. But
Yeah.
you know,
And sometimes we want people to validate what we're thinking or what we're
feeling
saying and what we're feeling.
right,
Hmm.
and that was pre I what is it? Yeah, before emotional intelligence, which
Yeah.
that's a whole nother
That's a
story.
whole nother
Yes,
story. But it's so powerful how God will let you be by yourself and just sit in that. Sometimes when you have to sit in stuff, it's like, man,
because it's me.
yeah.
It's just me, and I have to actually look at me, and then I had to look at me, and I had to see well who I was accusing and the people that I was accusing. It was me. The
Mm.
scripture says, "How can you take the speck from your brother's eye when you can't see clearly? First, remove the plank,
Wow.
and then you can
Wow.
see clearly." And the whole time, neither one of us ever has the speck. We both have the plank.
Mm-mm.
So you actually have to be. So I was able to see my plank, and that's hard because you have to identify that. Yeah, you could possibly be the villain in someone else's story too. So stop
And you
being
have to
so holy.
own it.
Yeah,
Yeah, owning it.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm like, own your just
yeah.
own it
But that's
because
what
you
you.
gotta own it.
When you by yourself, you have to own it.
You have to own
Yes,
it and you have to sit in it. Being in isolation is difficult. I think that's the
absolutely.
season I'm in right now. It's
Really.
difficult because, yeah, because I'm on a different journey. So my friends, even going around them, it's a little different because everybody's on their own little journey. And the stuff we used to do together, I don't feel right no more doing that. Right?
Right.
It's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not something I want to do.
Well, is it when you say it's nothing wrong with it?
Yeah, it's
Is it
not like they're doing anything crazy.
okay? Is it wrong
It's
for
just
you?
the energy in the
Okay.
space, I
Okay.
guess,
Hmm.
that I'm just like, I don't like this energy no more.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's like when you're like, dang, well, I ain't got no friends. Kind of like what you said. It's difficult. It's lonely.
It's lonely.
Yeah, it's lonely. Cause then you
Absolutely.
can't relate to what you used to be able
Hmm.
to relate to.
Ooh,
Um,
which means he's calling you higher. Dun, dun,
right. The
dun.
elevation
Mm-hmm.
requires separation.
Uh-oh.
And when I used to hear that, I was like, what? What y'all
Hmm.
talk about?
Right.
These my riders. They gonna be here,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
when you're
And a
trying to
lot of
go
times,
somewhere, it's different.
and
Yeah.
if you need to actually help somebody in that circle,
Hmm.
you actually have to come out of it so that you can go back.
Yeah. And it could be like you said, it could be like maybe you need to see me
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like, well, shoot, I need to get over there because I
Mm-hmm.
need to see what I need to be doing too
Absolutely.
for me.
Absolutely.
I think that's hard for people to see sometimes, especially because the way we grow up. So I've recently been studying a lot about trauma and
Mm-hmm.
how trauma affects the way you interact with people, how you live your life, the things you do.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm starting to see myself like,
Mm-hmm.
I see that
Mm-hmm.
in my family and I see it in me. I gotta stop
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So being able to identify that piece, I think a lot of people are missing.
Yeah.
They can't come out of that so they can see.
Well, you have to be, and that is a healing process,
Mm.
and you actually have to. In art, healing is equivalent to grieving,
Wow.
and if you do not feel like grieving, you will not heal. That's just not going to happen.
Mm.
That is very tough. You can. I have stopped myself because the grief was so unbearable.
Wow.
I'm like, I don't feel like feeling like this. And when you start healing and identifying childhood trauma, you actually have to look at your 5-year-old self first.
You do.
So you have to start healing the little people, the little you,
Yeah.
and then you finally get to the adult you. And
Yeah.
it's no telling how long it takes you to heal.
It takes. I'm still working.
Right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
heal the 5-year-old you.
Yeah.
So absolutely, because
Yeah.
healing is a process until we leave.
It is. It is.
You just look better.
Yeah, and you have to be willing to work at it though.
Absolutely.
I think people suppress it. Like,
Absolutely.
I know I need to do it, but I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna smoke, I'm gonna do all the things
Yeah.
that make me what I think makes me feel good. I'm experiencing that with one of my brothers right now, and I'm like, wow, he's in a place I never would have thought he would have been in. But I'm like, I think you're trying to suppress something that you need to deal with,
Right.
but people don't. They're not receptive to that.
Because if I
Yeah,
was gonna deal with it, I wouldn't be drinking.
I wouldn't be on drugs. I
I
wouldn't be
wouldn't be. There
smoking
you go.
like that. Yeah. And so now I'm like, wow, y'all really, you see people in a different light. You start to
Absolutely.
really see, like, wow, you really feel like you need that to function.
Yeah.
You really feel like you need that to
Right.
feel good. And it's like, wow, you got to deal with the root of the problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because for a little while it does feel good. So for a little while you can escape the pain.
Yeah.
It's just that once the high is gone, it's back.
It's
So
back. And you got to go get some more.
absolutely.
And it's like, when you going to get tired?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you don't, because what happens is what your habits eventually rule your life. So you don't, unless you have people again in your corner able to kind of talk to you or keep planting those seeds about you need to do better, you need to get better. A lot of times we actually die sick.
Whoa.
Yeah, the majority of us die sick. It's a very few of us who determine to heal. Again, because of how difficult healing is. Like if I was going to, if I had my way, I wouldn't heal.
Right.
But I don't, because I don't want any. The other end is just more damaging. I'm just gonna, okay, Lord, let me go ahead and heal. Let me identify with this childhood trauma. Let me go sit down with somebody on the couch.
Yeah.
Let me get this, because I am the drug addict. I just made a different decision. I'm no better.
Right.
I just made a different decision.
Come on.
Yeah.
Y'all, she leaving us with a whole word. Yeah. You know what? I never even thought about it like that. But you're right. You're right. Like, we're all dealing with something.
Every last one of us.
Yeah. It's just the way we choose to deal with it.
Absolutely. And that has a lot to do with the structure. The way my structure is set up, I can't afford to become dependent on something. I choose not to, but I have to choose that every day.
Every day.
And the day I don't choose it, I can become an addict to something.
Yeah. And it's gonna cost you.
It is.
And y'all, I'm not willing to pay that cost.
Absolutely.
I don't want to pay it. Because I know it's gonna be real high.
And we have seen people choose that, and we haven't seen anybody be successful choosing that route. So,
yes. I mean, I think just following your dreams and just really identifying your passion, like those things take you really stepping outside and taking a look at what you need to deal with.
absolutely.
Because until you deal with it, I don't feel like you can be successful. I meet people all the time at like networking events and stuff, and I'm like, oh, they look great on paper. And then when you get to know them and you start really like talking to them, you're like, oh wow, okay, I'm getting it. The lack of structure is there.
Right.
You can
Yeah.
it's
And
in
then
every area of your life.
And that's the personal and professional life not matching up.
Not
They
matching.
actually have to be the same. If you are one way here and one way here, you actually have to be identical in both places. And if you're not, somebody is getting a fake version of you.
Yes, yes.
And eventually that's going to be exposed. So,
And it is. Normally for me, I'm like, whoa, hold on. Okay. I'm getting it. And sometimes it's like you may hear it through the way they feel about a certain topic or
yeah.
their opinions on certain things, and you're like, wow, you got something you really need to deal with.
There
You
you
need
go.
to be dealing with that.
Right.
I went to like I said, I went to the networking event last night, and it was like a round table discussion.
Okay.
Pretty cool the way they do it. So you put like topics in a bowl,
Mhm.
and they choose a topic, they start the conversation, and then whoever can chime
Yes.
in on the conversation. And so the last part of the first question was why do when women make more money we get disrespectful, right? Why do we
Interesting.
get disrespectful? Like why do we no longer respect the man because we make more money? And so it was interesting to
Somebody
hear
was projecting so hard on that. But
all of
anyway.
I felt so you've been married 19 years. I felt so uncomfortable in the room because I told my husband I want to speak because they couldn't really see me, so he raised his hand and
Mhm.
said my wife wants to say
Mhm.
something. So my opinion was, I said, look, I don't think women disrespect men when we make more money. I think the problem comes in where if I make more money and I'm out here and I have a plan, I'm executing my plan every day. I'm out working, I'm bringing home money, I'm paying the bills, and you at home chilling, you know, watching TV. You don't really have much. You're just like
Yeah,
I think that's where the problem comes in.
absolutely.
And so I said, one of my things was is like if my man has a vision, he has a plan, and every day he's working on it, and I can see it. I know he's going to be successful. We didn't prayed over that thing, and I see the potential, and I know God got it covered. It's just not coming on my timing, but I'm being patient.
Absolutely.
I'm fine with that.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Nobody agree with me but the men in the room. So
The women didn't agree,
they were like,
but they
"No, I can deal with that for a long period of time because I need him to be making money."
which is
You know,
crazy to me because again, hindsight is 2020. Why are you with them? So you just gonna waste time?
yeah. They
You're
said they
not.
can deal with it for a little bit, but after a while, he need to be coming on with the come on.
What's a little bit?
That was one of the guys' question. He was an older guy and he's married, and he said he was only married. His wife wasn't there, but he said, like men has it's so much pressure on men to do it now, to be the provider, to be the protector, to make more money, to do all these things, to where they're like, you know what, y'all can have it.
But that so I don't
Yeah.
think people understand. Like if a guy is meeting a woman like that, it has more to do with who he is and less to do
Hmm.
with who she is. If you are attracting someone like that, you are. I remember watching. I don't know if it was Sesame Street or what we used.
Yeah.
You are what you eat, from your head down to your feet.
Hmm.
That's what you're attracting. So I don't think it's necessarily so much pressure coming from the woman. What are you attracting? Are you flashing money? Are you pulling up in big cars? Are you making it seem like you just have this lavish life?
Or
What do
you ignoring the signs. I
or
had a guy
there
tell
you
me
go.
that he's like, no, I just choose not to see it. Like I don't want to. I don't when people.
Really
Yeah. So like if I meet somebody, he's like, if my mom can say, I don't know, and he like, I don't want to hear it. Like I don't want to see it
interesting. Well,
until somebody like show you a video, and then you like,
you have no
oh
choice.
damn,
Yeah, there's the evidence.
yeah. So those people need like, let me see it. But I said all that to say, the ladies for me, I felt like they were single, of course, but I felt like some of the trauma and things that they had been through played a role in how they felt about
Absolutely,
the
absolutely,
situation.
absolutely.
So yeah, so me the whole time I'm
And
like,
for those young ladies,
yeah,
they are going to have a difficult time being married
yeah,
because when I tell you marriage is one of the most
it's
difficult.
hard.
Oh my goodness.
It's not easy, y'all.
Yes.
It's not easy, but I think it's so worth it and it's so beautiful when you work at it and you really look at it the way God designed it to
There
be.
you go.
When
That's
you look at
you
it,
just wrapped it up. That's it. The way that
yeah.
God designed it to be, because now you're accountable to God and he's accountable to God. So you you both have determined that I have somebody to answer to,
Mhm.
even when I don't like you.
And I'm like, I can't lose because
Come
this is
on.
what God wanted me to
You
do.
better tell
He
it.
wanted me to have.
Hmm.
So you can't lose. Like,
Yes.
we always laugh because single people are like, oh, this, that. And we're like, how do y'all work together? Or how do y'all do this? And we're like, we gonna argue. That's just the nature of it. But it's gonna work.
Right.
Like, it's gonna work. We know it's gonna work. We in it. And that's it.
And especially if he
Yeah.
lets her win.
Yeah. And he's okay. He okay with her winning.
Right.
Like, I'm
Yes.
good with
There you
that,
go.
boo. You can have it.
Hmm.
Yeah. And most men are. And you can tell
Absolutely.
men that are really into their wives. Like, we get different men in here all the time, and I'm like, oh, I like him because they'll say my wife, or I gotta check with my wife. I love those type of men
Absolutely.
because you
Absolutely.
in it, you
Yeah.
in that thing, and so
Absolutely.
I think that's the difference. But what really irked me the most about last night
Hmm.
was a young lady stood up. So, and we're gonna end on this, but
Okay.
so I know you've seen the Kiki Palmer, the video with her. Have you seen it? Dancing with Usher.
Oh.
Okay, so there's a video with her dancing with Usher. She has on like a cat suit, but her butt, like the ones that are see through and your butt's out, you can
Okay.
see your butt.
Okay. Hmm.
So Usher's dancing on her, admiring her, whatever. She just had a baby.
Hmm.
So her baby's dad went online and he wrote on Twitter like, basically you're a mom, you shouldn't be dressing that way,
Okay.
basically in a nutshell. And
Are they
so
together?
they're together.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they have a baby.
Okay.
He's probably only like 2 months, 3 months.
Okay.
Social media went crazy. You got the women saying like, "Don't tell her what to wear. She's not your wife." Da 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 da. And you got the men like, it's the fact that Usher was dancing on her. She was dancing on him in a way, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that's the topic they ended with last night. So the women were all upset, and felt I was on the guy's side because I felt like it wasn't the fact of what she had on. She looked fine. She looked beautiful. It's the fact that how you carried yourself and how you handled yourself in the situation.
Right.
Because even if I'm not married, I'm still in a relationship. I'm still a lady. There's just a certain way I carried
Absolutely.
myself. So I
Absolutely.
felt the guys
Yeah.
but it started this whole argument last night because they
That's
were
right.
serious and I was just laughing. But a lady stood up and she was like, "I'm gonna end it, and I'm a bad bitch, and I
Oh
do what I
Lord.
want to do." And I was just like, I wanted to go under the table so bad, but I mean, I just felt her pain because I could see it. Because I'm like, wow, somebody really
Absolutely.
traumatized you,
Projecting. Big
projecting.
time. Yes.
And so I think when we're not fully who we know we should be and not
Absolutely.
operating how we should be, we spend a lot of time doing that. We spend a lot of time projecting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just personally and just I wouldn't, if I'm in a relationship, there's no way I'm going to behave like that.
Come on.
Yeah, because I have respect for my significant other.
Mm-hmm.
I am, however I act in private is how I'm
It's
going
out.
to act in public.
Yep.
And so I just wouldn't have done it just because. I mean, it's just really inappropriate. Not that she has a baby or, it's,
Yeah.
you want to understand that your significant other will feel some kind of way about that.
Period.
I mean, his
Just
little feelings gonna be hurt.
because
So
I would feel some type of way if my man was dancing on Beyonce, like
hello,
they're in the bed. Like, no,
yeah,
I would. And so I'm like, I see the guys. I feel the guys on that one because it was like it wasn't the fact of what she had on. Because my husband loves, he'll let me. He like, oh, I love that. Wear that.
right,
Whatever.
right,
I like the way it looks. But it's the fact that if I'm dancing on another guy,
yeah. And
come
you have to
on.
be careful about the attention it brings.
Yes,
Unfortunately, men don't respect our clothes,
they don't.
and so while we don't want to dress for them, you do want to understand that that might bring some very negative attention.
Yes.
And who has time to deal with that? I mean,
Right.
because unfortunately, some men, some women are ignorant. So you just not having to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's you and your man and you guys are in a secluded area, or it's just you two,
Right.
then fine, put on what you want to put on.
Right.
He's gonna admire that,
Yeah.
but let him admire it.
Yeah. And I
You
think
didn't have
that's
to
what the
put that
guys,
on.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think
let him
exactly that's what the
admire it.
guys were
Yeah,
saying. But a lot of the ladies were missing it. And I think we're just living in a different time. And, I think life coaches are out there, there's counselors out there. And I think we all need to do the work.
absolutely,
And so find somebody, Miss
absolutely,
Tiffany, anybody to help you do the work that you need to really be successful and have the structure in your
absolutely.
life. All right. This is a time that I like to turn it around. Do you have any questions that you want to ask me?
So how long have you been doing this? I'm finna
Then,
interview you.
well, I've been I've been doing the podcast that me and my husband have. We've been doing it for like 5 years.
Okay.
Mine, I just launched this year.
Oh yay.
See, because I got tapped on the shoulder, but
Okay.
that's another
Okay.
story.
Okay. Okay. So we can't get into
Right,
that.
right.
Okay,
Got
because I was
tapped on
finna
the
be like,
shoulder. No, for real. Like literally, I kept telling my husband, like, I don't know if I should start my own, but God was giving me ideas, but I hadn't really narrowed down what I wanted to focus on.
Mhm.
And then God's like, just do what you're good at. I'm good at building
Absolutely.
relationships. I'm passionate about it. I love it. I like helping people.
Okay,
And
good.
so sharing stories and hearing authentic, real people come and tell their stories, I love it
Right.
because it can help somebody.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of how I got here.
Okay,
How
okay.
I got here, yeah.
Are you loving it?
I love it. I
Okay.
love it. I've had some amazing people on. I always get ministered to every time. I
Absolutely.
swear, every time. I'll be like, okay, God, I see you. So yeah, I'm
Right.
loving it.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
good. I'm excited for you. So what is your podcast? What is your specific topic?
So my podcast is centered around mental health. So it's
Okay.
centered around mental health, just women empowerment.
Okay.
So that's kind of
Oh,
where my
good.
brand is going. And I'm actually making it into a brand. So it's not just going to be a podcast, it's going to be
Good.
multiple entities.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about building a community and some other things just to have a safe space for women to kind of share.
Okay.
And yeah.
So what stands out the most for you, just with some of the interviews and the things you've done? What is the one thing about mental health that stands out the most?
I think what stands out the most is that you have some people that are open about sharing, and then you have some people that are like, "Oh, I don't really know. It doesn't really.
Hmm.
Mental health is not a priority for me,
Okay.
right?"
Okay.
And so I think you have to really, and that's why I say I like to really look at my guests to see who I want on and who I don't, because that's kind of a focus. Is like making sure that everybody's in a healthy space and that everybody's kind of sharing their truth. And so I like people that are going to be open,
Open and honest.
honest, bring something that people can actually take and apply
Yeah.
to
Okay.
their lives.
So for you personally, what monster did you have to confront?
I had to
Or is
confront.
that too personal?
No, no, no.
Okay.
I had to confront like not giving myself enough credit.
Mhm.
That's where the name Allow Yourself Grace came from.
Okay.
Because I was the person that was always worried about what other people think, always critiquing myself, not want to talk, just quiet, letting people kind of don't want to be seen that like I'm gonna stay back here. That type. And so
Where did it
God
come from?
really I don't know, because I just told my husband last week, I'm like, growing up,
Mm-hmm.
I was the president of youth ministry. I was singing in the choir. I was talking in front of people, and then I don't know, somewhere along the line I lost it.
Okay.
And so the
You know
thought
he
of doing
you know
it
he
was like,
about to expose that
yes.
where it
No,
came
he
from.
already has.
Really?
So another person came on my platform, and I swear she be, oh yeah, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. And so I'm like, and my husband's like, just do it. And so I said, this is my yes year. So
Okay.
all
Oh,
the
that's
opportunities
cute.
that come my
Come on,
way
yes, yeah.
that are uncomfortable, say
Absolutely.
yes. So
Amen.
yeah, I'm actually gonna be speaking at a conference coming up.
Okay.
I'm going back to my old church to speak on Sunday.
Okay.
So like God, like, nah, you need to get back to what I gave you.
Amen.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm through being nosy.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to
No, that's
share? Okay.
it. But yeah,
I'm
that's kind of
excited
where
for
I'm
you.
at. Thank
Yes.
you.
That's
But
good.
yeah, just pushing myself. I'm getting better. I'm getting better and better. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm excited
Absolutely.
about it.
Keep affirming that. I'm big on affirmations. Keep affirming that you get
Yes.
better and better. You are better.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I
Absolutely.
want to thank you so much for accepting my invite and coming
Anytime.
on.
Anytime.
Y'all make sure y'all go follow her. Her Instagram's gonna be on the screen. Her podcast is gonna be there. They're gonna be coming back soon, so stay tuned for episodes.
Absolutely.
This episode, y'all know, launches on Wednesday, so stay tuned. I will be posting on Allow Yourself Grace. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Well, guys, that concludes our episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. For additional information about today's episode, please click the link in the show notes below. To learn more about our Grace Girls community and other resources we have to offer, head over to www.allowyourselfgrace.com. Until next time, Grace Girls, I love you all, be blessed, and continue to strive for success.